Come with me. Look at this. This is something else. So this is the AI Impact Summit in India. Look at Sam and Dario. Look. Did you see? Did you see? Did you see? Watch. Look at them. Yeah, we won't hold hands. This is like the cringiest thing I've ever seen. It's actually terrible. It's like, what is going on? Look at the state of that. Look at him. They can't even look at each other. Also putting them close to each other. What a move. What an absolute move. Okay, so just a quick little primer as to their history. So Dario Amodei obviously is one of the founders of Anthropic, and he set the company up with a bunch of original OpenAI members and his sister, Daniela. And you can see his history here. Like, he went from Baidu to Google to OpenAI in 2016. And then in 2021, Dario and his sister, Daniela, founded Anthropic. And then the issue comes from in 23, as you can see here. I don't know whether you guys remember this, but basically the board of directors wanted to out Sam Altman, and they actually kind of did. And what they were going to do is merge Anthropic and OpenAI. But then there was that whole sort of shower happened. And then Sam Altman eventually, I guess, wins, takes back control of OpenAI. And we're at the kind of place where we're at now. As you can see, Anthropic has got an estimated value of 380 billion, although OpenAI's value is I think it's near 900 billion, considering the insane funding which is apparently about to go through. So you can see where some of the conflict might have come from, and the fact that they very awkwardly stood next to each other and wouldn't hold hands. I mean, it does beg the question, doesn't it? If the two, well, they're not the two biggest AI companies, but the one biggest AI company, let's say, in OpenAI, and another major AI company with a frontier model can't even stand working with each other, like what hope have we got? Like, what hope have we got in this world? Oh my days. Okay, let's talk about this, because OpenAI, even though they've got a souring of relations with Microsoft, it looks like Microsoft are actually going to be part of this $100 billion funding round, which is apparently very close to being secured. So we all know OpenAI are on the hook for literally trillions in data center build-outs. And again, the reason why we cover this is it directly impacts the cost of the hardware that we use. We know RAM prices have gone up like over 500%. Memory prices, storage prices, hard drive prices, graphics cards are friggin' stupid. I think last time I looked, it was like $4,000 for a 5090. I know that's an extremely high-end card, but I mean, what are we doing? It's so bonkers. But this now, it's crazy. So we'll go through this, and it's not a very long article here because it just gives us the details from Bloomberg. So OpenAI is close to finalizing the first phase of a record-breaking funding round, expected to bring in more than 100 billion, according to Bloomberg. This capital injection could push the startup's valuation to over 850 billion, with the company's pre-money value remaining 730 billion. So I said nearly 900 billion. I was kind of close, right? Anyway, Bloomberg reported that the first portion of the round would largely come from strategic investors, including Amazon, SoftBank, Nvidia, and Microsoft. Amazon's commitment could reach 50 billion, while SoftBank is said to be considering up to 30 billion, and Nvidia has discussed contributing 20 billion. Now, obviously, if you add the 30, the 20, and the 50 together, you get the 100 billion. So where's the Microsoft money going to come from there? Which is being said that they are part of the investment from Bloomberg. Now, we don't know. These figures are obviously not, this hasn't been officially announced. This is just, it's reporting. That's the most accurate we've got, I guess we can say at the moment. But when we look at these companies, we can see there are a number of them. Like, we know SoftBank is heavily in bed with Stargate and all that AI build out that has been committed to OpenAI. Oracle is also part of this as well. So SoftBank investing in them, it wouldn't be much of a shock. Nvidia, as we know, have got the option to invest up to 100 billion, and that's going to be at their discretion. So, if they just do smaller injections, I mean, 20 billion isn't small, is it? Like, what am I even saying? But if they do smaller injections, then fair enough. The crazy one, though, is Amazon. If Amazon are going to do 50 billion, that's a massive amount of money. And this actually, it does sort of, I mean, you can see they say at the bottom here, right? It's aimed at supporting OpenAI's rising capital expenditures. It needs to build out its AI tools and ramp its infrastructure spend. Chief Executive Officer Sam Altman has said the company ultimately expects to spend trillions of dollars over time on AI infrastructure, underscoring the scale of compute and hardware investment required for frontier models. But the thing I was going to say is, it's almost like when you look at these companies investing in each other, I think OpenAI really want to position themselves as a company that's too big to fail, which obviously is a great position for them to be in because it means they're always going to get support effectively from their competitors, because if they go down, it's going to heavily affect their competitors. I've said this in previous videos, but if OpenAI goes under, it will wreck the entire economy, not just the other AI companies. Now, is that necessarily a bad thing? Well, it's not great if the economy gets wrecked, right? Your mortgage rates are going to go up, the food prices are going to go up, fuel prices, everything, right? It'll be really, really bad. The thing is, though, I think these companies are almost like positioning themselves to make sure that doesn't happen. And I'm not saying OpenAI is a complete failure of a company. We know, like, we'll talk about LLMs in a minute and them being an evolutionary dead end, potentially. Well, I don't think I think they are. They're just chatbots that are just the longer you talk to a chatbot, the more like incoherent it gets with its response. It doesn't matter if it's the latest and greatest model going. It just isn't. They're just not there at the moment. They're definitely not going to lead to artificial general intelligence. And it isn't just my words saying that. We've got some, I'll show you this in a second. But yeah, this whole thing of OpenAI being too big to fail, and it's kind of comical that you see their competitors having to inject money into them when we see things like Microsoft saying we want to scale back, we want to pull back our work with OpenAI. By the way, we're probably going to be involved in the next round of funding because we can't afford for them to go under. So yeah, and also the amount of capital investment going into this, the returns have got to come from somewhere, and we're already starting to see that with OpenAI looking at adding adverts into their, ChatGPT responses, not as the response, but underneath the response. But that's a slippery slope. And again, that will be part of the beef with Dario and Sam Altman when you look at the recent ad campaigns Anthropic launched against ChatGPT at the Super Bowl. I just wanted to quickly throw this up because, again, this was what I covered that was reported a couple of days ago, well, a week ago or so. And yeah, Microsoft confirms plan to ditch OpenAI as the chat firm continues to beg big tech for its cash, and goes on to say that they're sort of worried about their financials, but at the same time, you will give you billions of dollars. Like, what? All right, so what the hell was going on at this AI Impact Summit, right? This is like bonkers. So it's taking place in India. You've got Modi in the middle. You've got like Google. You've got Meta represented. You've got OpenAI. You've got Anthropic, So, these are big hitters there. Microsoft is represented, but not with Bill Gates, and I'll show you why in a moment. But yeah, basically Sam says this. I was sort of confused and I didn't know what I was supposed to do. The tech entrepreneur leading OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, said on Thursday, described an awkward on-stage moment with the CEO of rival AI firm Anthropic, Dario Modi, at the India AI Impact Summit. So, yeah, it was strange. It was very strange. It's funny, though, that they were sort of standing next to each other. How that happened, I'm sure their PR people would be going like, what the fucking hell is going on? So let's bash on Dario a bit more. Now, I didn't actually, I thought this was AI at first. I've left the sound on a little bit so you can kind of hear him talking about whatever. He's doing a major speech off his phone. Now, obviously, the content is what matters, right? Not like the way you deliver the speech. But this don't look very good, does it? Like, what's going on here? I will say, though, I do agree with this, right? This is Narendra Modi saying, unfortunately, AI deepfakes and fabricated content are destabilizing open societies. Watermarking and clear source standards are increasingly necessary. We must also be more vigilant about child safety. Now, I agree with this. The problem is this is almost impossible to kind of implement, because even with the models now, you can generate lifelike. We've seen it like Hollywood actors, images of people, video, all of this, and obviously, you can alter what politicians say. You can make illegal content with all this stuff. All of this can be done, and it is a massive worry. And there does need to be some sort of global standard that all the AI models are sort of, agree to. But the problem is that we've just seen OpenAI and Anthropic can't even agree to hold piss in hand. So how is this even going to work? And Anthropic's meant to be like the ethical AI, and OpenAI will just do anything for money. And then there's all the open source models, all the other companies. This is a good thing to say, but I just don't even know how this gets implemented. I don't even think it can be implemented. Okay, so this was reported a while ago. The legendary AI scientist, Yan Li-chun, leaves Meta and basically says LLMs are just a waste of time. And this is the quote. He's actually been hinting at the answer for a long time when it comes to human-level intelligence. Lichun has become notorious lately for saying LLMs, as we currently understand them, are duds, no longer worth pursuing, no matter how much big tech scales them up. He said in April of last year that an LLM is basically an off-ramp, a distraction, a dead end. Now, LLMs, they're the chatbots that we basically interact with and we use for whatever reason. They are kind of like, they're okay at certain things. They'll compare information. I've said in the past, I use them to, in fact, it's always a mountain bike example with me, but I use them to compare rims because I wasn't sure if one rim would fit on the back of a bike, and I had two rims and I was using them to just pull the data and cross compare. But I'm not just taking that data at face value. I'm having to go and check and see what's going on. Now, I know my usage is only like surface level. I know a lot of people have got, a lot more, let's say in some cases they get like a personal connection, and then you see things like when OpenAI retires models, people go crazy because they're basically their friend is being deleted effectively, which I think is a whole other societal issue that definitely does need looking at. But I think this year is going to be, and going forward, and definitely this year though, it's the whole idea of these AI agents that can be sent out to perform tasks. How that's going to manifest, we're going to have to wait and see. There's obviously been the whole thing with OpenClaw and them getting basically absorbed into OpenAI when Anthropic could have potentially have taken them, but they didn't. In fact, they forced them to change their name because it was very close to Claude's name, OpenAI, Anthropic's model, I should say. So all of this is like going on, and I just think, yeah, LLMs, they're not going to create artificial general intelligence. Agents are probably the next step, and then when we go from there, who knows? Sam, though, at this AI conference, he says, now remember, this is AI CEO who needs AI investment dollars, who is saying AI is great and it's better than him. So, it's all bollocks when you think of it that way. Sam Altman says not even the CEO's job is safe from AI, as it will soon perform the work better than certainly me. Yeah. He's also back again, and he says he says the quiet part out loud, confirming some companies are AI washing by blaming unrelated layoffs on the technology. And of course, this is companies going, oh, we're laying off people, or insidiously, we're going to lay off 10,000 people, but we're going to say it's because of AI. So it looks to our investors that we're still pushing forward with productivity and we're reducing our costs because we're getting rid of our staff. Although our token generation cost is now massive. So it's more expensive than if we just kept the humans who did better work, but whatever. So yeah, in some ways you can kind of understand this, but I don't know. The things this guy comes out with sometimes are just like, oh my days. It also gets better as well. Now remember, we've spoken before about AI existential crises which happen when you start thinking about what you can do with AI, especially specific models. Sam Altman is warning that open source AI could enable pathogens as leaders call for global guardrails at the India summit. So obviously this is the idea of AI models generating novel, new pathogens for bioweapons. Anthropic have spoken about this in detail. Basically every major lab has to some degree. This has obviously got to be a worry, because like imagine if you just have an unrestricted AI model and you can say, I want to create something, what ingredients do I sort of need, and it gives you the list, and then off you go and do it. Obviously it would be more complex than that, and pathogens and biological weapons are going to require a lot of additional support mechanisms. It just isn't going to be some guy mixing up some ingredients and then he's got a biological weapon. At least you would hope that would not be the case. But I mean, see the thing with all of this, and it goes back to that thing of, it's almost like nuclear non-proliferation and mutually assured destruction. The nuclear arms race, everyone was racing to get more and more nuclear weapons, right? So the US and Russia, the Soviet Union at the time, were the two big ones that were just racing and racing. Incredible numbers of nuclear weapons, enough to destroy the world countless times over. It was just insane. Yeah, you had companies like countries, I should say, like the UK, France, who had their own nuclear weapons, but not really enough to wipe out the planet, but enough to strike back so they wouldn't be struck. And obviously now you've got like Pakistan, you've got North Korea, you've got most definitely Israel, and these countries have all got nuclear weapons as well. And obviously China. But there is an agreement there. If you use the nuclear weapon, you're going to get hit with a nuclear weapon. So in a way, it almost stops the use of nuclear weapons. The problem is AI is almost that, but rammed up to times 10, times 100, times 1,000, because you can suddenly do things that would have been out of your reach because you may have required some insane technology to pull it off, or the best scientists in the world. Whereas what happens if you've just got an AI model where you can just go, some rogue state, let's say, make me a biological weapon that'll wipe out Europe. Thank you. And then it just gets made. And then that is a very worrying thing. And all of this call for guardrails and AI, I'm fully behind that. We do need some sort of a system in place to keep it all in check. But I just don't see how you implement this, because the ultimate issue with this is whoever has the better, the faster, the cleverer AI, you win. You become and then you get faster AI because of that. If it becomes recursive and just starts training itself and the next model and the next model, we've already seen that with some of the latest models. The previous model is used to train the next model. So you hit a critical mass, they all go after this artificial super intelligence way beyond general intelligence. And then what? You can just do everything? This is like, it's really insane when you think about it. So yeah, this is why your RAM is worth $900 and whatever. But we get to see the fight, which I'm sure these two guys wanted to do on stage. What a state this is. What are we doing? Okay, so the BBC reporting, Bill Gates pulls out of India's AI summit over the Epstein files controversy, right? Now, he says, the Gates Foundation said the decision was made after careful consideration and to ensure the focus remains on the summit's key priorities, but did not elaborate. Gates' withdrawal comes amid controversy over his ties to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein after he was named in new files released by the US Department of Justice in January. So you need to get investigated, Bill. Anyone in those files with credible evidence against them needs to get investigated, right? And I'm going to say this, the UK, we're fucking doing it. Check this out. I'm sure you're aware of this. This is major breaking news in the UK, but obviously in the world. It is the first high-profile arrest of somebody who is deeply, deeply connected to the Epstein files. Andrew, who was known as Prince Andrew, but you got that stripped from him, has been arrested. The king says law must take its course, and rightfully so. This could be the beginning of all these absolute wankers getting sorted out, and it definitely needs to happen. So over to the US now. Is the US going to sort itself out? What are we going to see as a result of this? Well, hopefully something happens, because I'll tell you what, these vile animals these people are. So I thought let's end the video on something wonderful. So this is obviously the now very famous circular funding of AI. And the reason why I want to show this is obviously there's loads of investment going back and forth and all of this goodness. NVIDIA, big daddy in the middle, because they're selling all of the picks, all of the shovels to everybody who wants to be part of this, gold rush. The thing is, there needs to be external input here. There needs to be revenue generation by these companies. Not these companies, like NVIDIA is generating revenue because those companies buy off NVIDIA. And then so NVIDIA gives money back to those companies, right? So then they can buy off NVIDIA. NVIDIA's share price goes up. They can sell some and they can buy more and give more money, and then they can buy. So that's obviously not sustainable, right? Because there's no end point, right? There's no external revenue coming in. The likes of Sam Altman would like to say, yeah, there's tons of it coming in, but we know his company is burning $14 billion a year, and we know they need, well, he's even said trillions of dollars to build out the required compute that they need to generate more chatbot responses or whatever they're doing. So yeah, there needs to be external input. And the question is there going to be external input? I'm not sure. What I'd be very interested in, though, is if you, through your work with AI. Obviously, I'm a dickhead and I just sit here at my computer. That my uses of AI is like minimal. It's like me looking for, comparisons between mountain bike rims, right? It's not exactly heavy usage, but I can imagine, given the proliferation of things like Copilot in, a workspace which is dominated by Microsoft, if you're forced to use Teams and, Excel and all of that stuff, like to what degree is this being used, and is it actually helping? I said this in the previous video, like in my head, I just see it as like the manager says, hey, Mr. Stylosa, my, chart guy, can you make me a lovely pie chart with this data? And I'm like, yeah, boss. He gives it me, and I just paste it into Copilot and say, make me a lovely pie chart. It makes it me. Then I give it the boss, and the boss is like, top work. Then the boss sends it over to somebody who needs to look at the data, and they just ask Copilot to give them a summary. So it just summarizes what I've given them, and at no real point has any work happened. It's just the manager may as well just send the data to the bloody person who needs to look at it. I don't know. But again, I don't work in these environments, so I'm not sure. The only thing that pisses me off with all the AI, like I've said before, I do feel like Yeah, medical advancements and things like that. That's definitely what I want to see. You know, advancements in fusion power, technological advancements and things like that. Definitely what I hope AI can be used for. What I don't want it to be used for is generating AI slop videos, is generating deep fakes, is generating like replicas of content, is the ability to just give you a trillion episodes of whatever your favorite TV show is, tailored to you, so only you experience it and you can't share that with other people because that's no way to live. All right, guys, thanks for watching the video. I've been Stylos. If you enjoyed that, then let me know what you think about all this in the comments below, and I'll catch you lovely lot on the next video. See you soon.